the celebration of African American history means a lot to me as a person of color, as a woman of color, as someone who has lived through civil rights and various other things. I've always been interested. You will be also amazed that my grandfather was from Ireland. He was a white man. My great-grandfather I'm talking about never married the great-grandmother. She was a slave. They had 11 children, one of whom is my grandmother, who's deceased now. But that lineage between slavery and freedom has always been a very powerful one for me to study and find out and research and just learn more about. It's just very, very interesting. This piece, The Ballad of the Underground Railroad, which you are going to teach or have taught your children, is a phenomenal work which was designed for a group of over 500 children for the American Orphan Work Association opening session in Cincinnati, Ohio, during the same time that they bombed and brought down the New York Trade Center and bombed the Pentagon and all of that. It was happening at the very, very same time, the same year. This piece, I was working with all of these children to Cincinnati Public Schools, all of the schools for this opening session. And I needed something that was powerful for them to sing. They were coming from all different backgrounds. You had your gang wars on one side of the city and the other, and people were different and trying to get along with one another. And I was desperate for something that would really bring all of these children from all over Cincinnati, Ohio together. I was on my way to the University of Cincinnati one morning on the highway, which I drove in every morning, and suddenly this tune, these words started coming into my head. I stepped on the gas. I said, I've got to get into my office and write this melody down before I forget it. The Underground Railroad, the Underground Railroad, everybody get on board. So come on, children, we're bound for freedom. We'll make it by the help of the Lord. I knew it was a hit immediately, so I rushed up to the elevator into my office and I just started writing it down. And from there, people have used it all over the United States. Even the St. Louis Symphony, or the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra orchestrated it for a children's choir. They've taken it to Canada and used it with children's choirs. They performed it in the music hall there with hundreds of children with special voices. It's really a phenomenal work. It tells the whole history of Harriet Tubman. And I was really, really pleased when I thought during the Obama years, they were getting ready to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. But did you know that? But since that time, I think they decided not to do it. They put it on hold, but they were getting ready to put her name, her picture on one of the $20 bills. When I did this piece, I did it with 5th and 6th grade boys and girls from public school. And I have always loved to help the young guys really realize their potential and their creative abilities when I am working with any piece like this. So I might precede it with, I put long dowel rods in their hands, which might resemble spears from Africa, building it up. So as they're coming in, they might come in on an ostinato like, ooh, and a step like they would do from a Greek fraternity. Hawaiians do the same kind of thing, that they come up from the back, you know, as dun, 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 the beginning, the accompaniment of that Underground Railroad. Somebody on the piano, whatever performance. So they have really an entry into that. You see what I'm saying? They're coming down the aisle, usually without shoes, because we just go all the way back. I try to tie in historically the African diaspora and the slavery and everything. So there can't be any shoes. So for those young guys who can't move on the beat, don't worry about it, because their peers will help them get on the beat, because everybody will be uniform and really ready to go by the time of the performance.
Okay.
What else can I say, except, again, I build a lot of things around programs when I am putting them together. Like the processionals, I do a lot of, in my Expressions of Freedom book, do you have that at all? If you do, come downstairs, I want you to look at it, because there are rhymes and rhythms in there that you may want to pull from and use some of them again to help enhance and really make this program shine. That you could put a really rockin' rhythmic ostinato under it, and it will make the audience really sit up straight and take notice. I think also it's very, very important before you do a work like this, or any work, that you should give students the history behind that work. Let them know why it is important. Why and where did that spiritual come from? We know that the words inside these spirituals, they were masked, they were symbolic of other things. We know that. And they should know some of those meanings. The Expressions of Freedom book will explain all of that to you. All right. I don't know what else to say, except I hope that you enjoy this piece. It's absolutely one of my favorites.
On the way here.
It's in one of my it's in the McGraw-Hill textbook series. It's a Hal Leonard publication. It started there, and it's just evolved. Everybody loves it. The children love it. I wrote it for the children, and the children took possession of it, and they love it.
They will. They'll take ownership of it.
But make sure, again, that not only your children, but the community understands that at one time in our history, African American slaves were not allowed to learn to read, or to write. And one of the few forms of communication that they had was singing. They used singing to escape. I have a book coming out in the next few months. It's called The Quilt Speaks, because not only did they use songs, they used quilts, as signals to escape slaves, to dress up and wade in the water, or follow the drinking gourd, all of those symbols. So it's really, really an exciting work.
Thank you so much for telling us.
Thank you too. What is your name again?
Shannon.
Shannon.
And I'm Allison.
Allison and Beth Ann.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. I'm so happy to